Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final game we have today on the MDL. It is going to be between Alternate Attacks and Epsilon. I don't know what really to expect from this game, I'll be honest. I haven't seen much from Alternate Attacks. I've definitely seen the individuals over on Epsilon, and I know that we've got the sort of young talent of Brocky. I know that Spalan can definitely put up numbers, but I think it's going to be one of the closer games today, one of the more unexpected games.
Yep, I'm right with you, Tom. Don't know what to expect. Haven't had the chance to catch these guys yet this season. It's not as though it's one of our last games like where we have ourselves a Valiance. Teams with very recent, very significant land results. There's been some online CS, probably some Copenhagen games. I believe that's where I saw Epsilon doing a little bit, getting to the at least top 4. But regardless, let's get into the pistol. It's a quick pop over towards the B site with plenty of smokes in the mix. 3 of them put down at the current moment. CT's rotating fully through spawn. Nobody's going to go for the banana flank. Cressy's still in apps, but bomb's now going to be planted, and there's 3 CTs nearby.
Yeah, not wanting to get bamboozled, but instead he's got a long rotate back, and it doesn't seem like there's a kit unless there was one already down on the site. Stefan will at least be able to pick off one, but the crossfire from Crucial should make it very difficult. He's actually spotted him out, though, and will manage to get a second in. Starting to get a little bit problematic now for the T side, but Brocky steps up. 2 kills to his name and leaves it on to the last man, Kreese, who's just going to be shoulder peeking. The runaround has to come in, and he will win out the duel. Great work from Brocky, and mentioned him as a sort of young talent within this roster, but that's one hell of a way to start.
Yeah, that's the kickstart for Epsilon's T side. Gonna go straight into the triple Mac 10. Ooh, baby. We got that AK sure in the mix, Brocky and Surreal, so we've got the back line, the heavy hitters, the orcs behind the goblins. These Mac 10's gonna charge. I'm assuming headstrong into the CTs with no armor. I mean, this is perfect for them. Could be a tendency that they look to exploit here versus Attacks, but there's a big head stack going on over at this B site. That's unorthodox. 3 counter terrorists already for these offensive players to walk around. USPs only, of course. Maybe a P250 in the mix. That's off the shoulder peak. So it's a trap. It's a trap, Tom, but I don't know if it's gonna.
Yeah, this seems like Jenga. Like if they shoot out that bottom brick, the other 3 will drop and they're not gonna hit. So I think most of this comes down to Stefan with the bait. If he can sort of trick them into this stack, then maybe there's a chance. Otherwise, it's probably just going to be Kreese just shredding down these remaining players and peek out. And yeah. I'll be honest, that's almost exactly what I expected to happen.
Yeah, I just took 2 screenshots, actually, and it's a story in 2 photos. The photo of the setup, and the photo of 5 kills across the kill feed, corpses spewed all over. That didn't work. I like the idea. You know, somebody had a creative thought, and they put it into place. You know, at some point during practice or scrim, someone said, guys, listen, all right, pistol round, we're good. And I don't know if they're going to go back to it. Mind you, it was Mac 10s just gunning them down and an excellent flashbang to kind of knock it off. I mean, maybe we get to see some more of it. Give me another example to add to the sample size.
Yeah, I think if you maybe, instead of a P250 for Stefan, get 1 smoke and time it well, then that could be a little bit more interesting, because a lot of the time you're going to get a player crossing over to that right-hand side corner, and they will definitely be spotted by the boost. So maybe it just needs a little bit of tweaking. Either way, it's going to be those Mac 10s looking to run and gun on towards the A site. Slacks is going to be in the back corner, and also with support from Stefan, but they've used this wall of smokes. A lot of teams now utilizing this to take control of the pit, isolate any players there. Interesting from the CTs not to have anyone in these angles, but they're just sectioning off these remaining players and even using the same Molotovs that Fnatic were using to just flood this site with flames. And, well, this is just the benefit of all that additional utility. The only real problem is the fact that the bomb's been dropped.
Yeah, that's the only catch in this plan. That smoke faded just as Kreese was starting to push up down this lane to try and reacquire it. So that's why it seems to come to such a long. But I did like the follow-up smoke on short. You could see the CTs trying to peek in, trying to cut them off from the cross. That's the thing, is you section the pit initially, you take control of it as a terrorist, but then you have to wait for those smokes to go away before you go for your plant, before you make that move inwards. That is that perfect window for, of course, the counter-terrorists to try to rotate over, try to use their supportive flashbangs. You saw the attempted peek from Graveyard into the pit. You saw the attempt to hide inside of the bomb site despite the flames. Like, it's certainly not a play that happens instantly. There's like included steps, and those steps create window pockets for Attax to try to play off of. Didn't work this time, so a third round to Epsilon as everyone saves shoulder to shoulder. But with 4 players alive, now M4s included, replacing those lesser weapons, this is a scary start from Epsilon.
Yeah, that's like the bonus round that never really exists anymore. You don't normally get these extra rounds to just make a buttload of money, but that's what they've done. To see every single player over 3 and even a few 6 and 7 grand a piece going into round number 4 is quite a scary prospect on the T side of this map. Interested by the utility investment though. CT side really wanting to try and take control of the banana.
Ow.
Look at the nade damage done. Stefan's taking a dunk, and well, that's as easy as you like for Spillan. And while the CT side now looking to try and split their defense a little bit here. Kind of would have liked to see maybe just more of a gamble in this round, because even if it goes wrong, just having those extra rifles into the next round would have been, I feel, more beneficial than these sort of individual peaks. Especially considering the rifles are sectioned out. Like, a more common strategy is maybe to put them both on one site, have the double gamble in, and then, well, if they fail, you save 2 rifles. If they're in the right place, then maybe you win the round. Instead, 1 per site. Mantu knows that they're coming from multiple angles, but it doesn't matter which one peaks. They take him down, and Cressy is now in that save anyway, but Surreal just domes him.
Cressy was so timid in that moment. You can see him keeping eyes back on balcony. He just knew he was screwed. He knew there was someone near. And Surreal gives himself away for only the moment. Headshot instant after. Double op just as quickly bought here by Attax. So they're looking to break the trend in the 5th round with the double op setup. It includes 1 kit for Stefan. Lackluster utility, of course, on both Slacks and Mantu. All that money in the guns. But they split up early. Slacks not yet extending from the left side of Inferno, mid, which is the safer of the 2. You should always peek right, Tom. There's a very good this is one of those really useful posts on Reddit lately, where somebody goes back into explaining the peeker's advantage of peeking while holding D instead of A. Go look it up if you want to get better. But let's watch the dude. Flashbang over the box, wants to try and hold B off, but with the smoke already in their face, they've stopped on their own accord. Ooh, and they get all the way back. So dude can't even go for sprays. And if his name is actually like Duty, then we're going to have a problem.
I think it might be just based off the capitalization, but I'm gonna call him Dude anyway, because I won't be able to keep a straight face if I don't. Look at the rotation from the CTs, though. They've definitely gambled correctly with their move, and it makes things a little bit interesting. What? Oh, come on. Just the pre-fire angles. Crucial with 3 kills. And, well, it's a similar situation to what we've seen prior. Stefan just looking to hold on. Look at the money already for Epsilon. This is ridiculous. Bear in mind, this is their most played map by quite a bit. Oh, no, wait. Sorry, Mirages. They got 31 maps of Mirage in the last 3 months, 22 maps of Inferno, and then there's a drop down to 14 apiece. So they play quite a bit of this map. Quite a lot of Counter-Strike as well. Like, that's a lot of maps having a short space of time.
That's the life of the online Counter-Strike gamer. Look at Vitality's maps played compared to like, the other teams there, except their caliber, right? Like they've gone through the gauntlet. But clearly Crucial and Surreal really tearing it up as of late. Smashing through the B defense, despite there being so many smokes, and like you said, that full-fledged gambled rotate from Attax, which did look like it could pay off. It just didn't come out on top of it. But now we have a scout added to the mix, added to Stefan's AUG. Plus double deagle 5-7. I like this buy. It's light, but it's already started successfully until the scout re-peeks into the open mid with no armor. Tom, with no armor. You saw him just get stopped in his tracks and slaughtered. Easy for Epsilon to move past it. He got that first shot off, could have fell off, should have fell off. Because now Epsilon are just going to chew through A site.
Yeah, it seems like patience is the key at the moment for Epsilon in terms of just waiting for players to peek into their angles. They will lose one man, but with the site under their control, I think Stefan might just be forced into a second save of the gun. Mantu's going to try and hit some dirty deeks.
Little exit flash, Mantu, man down. Stefan nowhere to be found, but that's all right. Remember, he was that single AUG. So the surplus added to the tally here for Attax this round. Didn't get much done. Kree's the only casualty. Still, it's the next round that we're looking to Attax to really come back from. Look to break this cycle, because it's not one they want to be on. They're getting washed.
Yeah, no, this is a masterclass so far from Epsilon, but I don't feel like they've thrown in anything too complicated. Like, they've utilized... I'm a big fan of that smoke setup that you see, the one that Fnatic kind of brought into fashion using over onto the pit. But I've seen a lot of teams doing that recently, so it sort of just shows that they're well practiced on this map. And I think the opponent's idea was sort of to just try and force it out with AWPs. Unless that's part of your actual strategy on the CT side, that almost makes me think that they're into like last-ditch efforts very early, considering you go for that over utility, which on this map, I would take utility anytime over an AWP.
Yeah, I want to start being able to control the timer. It's the biggest thing with smokes and mollies. You boil that round down to the last 30, 40 seconds every time. But you need those full belts of utility, full pelt added. Kree's just gets skinned through the wall. God, I love Counter-Strike. It's a game of millimeters and milliseconds, and that's timing.
Even still, though, the slight rotation of Slacks gives a bit of a window for the T's. He is going to make his way in towards the library instead. Quite a passive, almost retake hold on the B site. But this is where the execution starts to come in once again. Counter nades, and quite a lot of them still left. Slacks almost goes down, but will be able to survive within the site. And you can see the CTs are just using their counter smokes just to burn that clock right down. Fact is, though, Surreal, he's going to go through it, almost catches one. But instead, Cressy's just surviving in the back, and, well, they'll win themselves their first round. A much better looking round from Alternate Attacks. And they hit the board.
They've done it. Took 7 rounds, but they've done it. Cracked through. Big props to Cressy. I think standing in the back of the site, being able to work still with the Molotovs around him, he did find that comfort zone, that sweet spot. And with so many bodies just being peaked all at the same time, Attacks bring it back. But a pause called right after the fact, Tom. So let's take a breather, all right? Everybody, this is a great chance, if you haven't in a while, to stand up at home and do a little stretching. Just want you guys to quickly stand up, start with the head. Pull it to the left.
Take it back now, y'all.
Down and back, once or twice. And the shoulders, roll the shoulders. Relaxed already, aren't you, Tom?
Sure, why not? I definitely didn't just sit in my chair and completely ignore everything you just said.
We'll have next pause to work it out instead. Listen, man, I went out on a limb for you. I tried to... You guys, we got to find that great balance between esport gamers and a little physical aptitude. Back into the Counter-Strike where it all really matters. We've got an op duel that could be. Slacks working around middle, looking for brackets, hoping that the T's might be on the offensive. But right now, it looks like they're trying to work crucial. And since he's smoked off from Banana, it's going to be a little bit longer before these T's get moving.
Yeah, in the early rounds, it was a lot less utility thrown in from Alternate Attacks. So they were given a lot of the positions they're having to fight for free. And that sort of gives you the ability to get those rounds on the board very early on. So now we're more going to witness how Epsilon play versus utility versus the clock as well. Still a full belt for both Stefan and Slacks, although it is starting to dwindle over onto that B site. One smoke is all that remains, and I wonder if they may switch out a player just to make sure they have the extra utility there, or if maybe they can just throw a smoke from distance and rotate back. Even still, though, 35 seconds up and coming on the clock as the bomb still sits in the spawn, and Tees, they've got some ground, but they haven't really utilized any of it.
The utility. This utility, gonna want to get it down. Slack's throwing it on the opposite side of the map, though, from this big offensive. Great fake being spelled by Spellin. He still has that 3 CT play over towards the A site as the hit comes in on B. First player's drop, but Brokey will swing it back immediately. And because of the smoke grenades, dude's just gonna sprint in. He denies the plant, that's huge. Someone's gonna have to jump back on it, but is there time? No, sir, it's done. Epsilon falling to the side of the clock. With 3 survivors still, that's a second round for the Attacks.
Yeah, that is one of those all-out 50-50 plays. You run in, get shot in the head. You may have just lost your team the round. You do what he just did there, and you win it for them. So very high risk, and probably not the way that alternate attacks would be wanting to win the rounds the majority of the time. But hey, if it works, it works. 6-2. They double their score. And actually, based off winning it like that, they still have quite a bit of cash. Like, we're in a very weird scenario where both teams have reserves of money.
Which is what I want to see, Tom. This is it. This is one of those moments where the new economy is meant to build the comeback. It's meant to help it. And you can see it playing into it. Lots of everything you could hope for. Minus a kit on man 2, but that's really just getting too nitpicky. Gonna get the aggression to the top of Banana yet again. Slack's insta-kill. Molotov extinguishes the fire meant to prevent his peek, and it still gives him space to get prying eyes downrange. 5v4 thanks to the op, and Epsilon just all in on A at the moment, but still have so much time.
Yeah, incendiary smokes still being thrown out to deny any presence, and that's been the big problem over the last few rounds for Epsilon. They were handed a lot of this real estate for free in the first 6 rounds. Now they're being forced to take it. Flashbangs going out, Nays being thrown into the pit. They're going to try and just dunk down Stefan, and he's already low and now out. Cressy will at least be able to trade things back, but he's got to try and survive on this site. He is the only defender as Man2 looks to rotate in round the flank, but he's a little bit too late to the party, and actually the smoke thrown out, I believe, by his own teammate is going to, in fact, hold him back for a second through the Molotov. He goes! I'm not sure what it was meant to happen there.
There's a play there. Slacks throws the flashbang over the top of the bomb site from outside of Boiler, and the pop flash was meant to blind anybody in the site. So he was going to run through fire, avoid the pit player who should have been flashed, and take those close range fights. But he gets team flashed. So he doesn't just run through fire, he runs through fire blind. Poor
Not
guy
advisable.
gets screwed over, yeah. I mean, there's a chance where he gets up close, clears it out, and then that Boiler player can keep the player pinned into the pit. But that doesn't work out for him. So 7th round for Epsilon. You made a really good point, Tom, right before that one happened, where it's like the first 6 rounds, Epsilon were given all this space for free, and now we're going to have to watch examples of them working for it. They have to work harder for the same amount as what they were doing earlier, and that's going to take, you know, a bit of patience. It's going to take probably some costs. That's why we're watching them lose a couple of rounds. I am still convinced that Epsilon's the better team here. Their big plays have been more prominent. Consistency just seems to have me leaning there, and I feel like Attax might be outclassed, but we'll see if they can continue to add more rounds. It is just one. It's just that single breakthrough from Epsilon, but it happens at the A site where they may very well head once more. They've already got this strong apps control, but look at the peek from Boiler. It's a double peek, and Spellin's got him both.
Great transition onto the second player, and now you can see the T's just looking to try and execute out here. Flashbangs going, but there's a little bit of hesitation, and rightly so. The T's already have the man advantage. They don't need to overface. They don't need to take too many risks. They're going to gather up together, spotting out multiple players, but still pushing in, and they just decimate the remaining defense. Man 2, all he can do is quiver in the corner as he just fades back into the B site. And another successful take. And, well, from alternate attacks perspective, I do think they're a little bit unlucky. Like, 2 players in apps, both watching down those stairs is fairly uncommon. But the fact is, that once they lost that duel, it just seemed like the round was over.
Clean cut into the bomb site. And that's what I'm talking about, the crispness of Epsilon, Tom. AWP has been seen. Spelling's been hot, but can he handle the blast? Absolutely. Fully blind. Man 2 just got... Poor guy got wrecked. And now, Attax will find themselves strapped for cash. So I don't think the going got any easy.
I think that's the other thing that's weird in comparison to all the other teams we've sort of seen today, at least in the MDL. I can very easily pick out like star players from like most teams, but I feel like when you look at okay,
your word.
I was gonna say I don't see anyone like that stands out from the rest of the crowd over on the alternate attack side of things, but that was a sick shot.
That could not have been better time from Slacks. That's
hey, I am not bitter. I am more than happy to be proven wrong if shots like that are going to come out of the woodwork.
So good. I love that he doubles over to this B site as well. So now we're going to have numbers advantage for attack. If this front runner of Epsilon actually commits, but Bomb's working its way back through mid. If Stefan can find timing and let these players cross, he could cut off the first 2 players to hit A. Or they wrap Arch and split the B site. Oh my god, the layers, Tom. Watch Stefan, because if he walks out and finds this, it would be huge, but he hasn't. He hasn't walked outwards, and he hasn't gone all the way through app, so now they're going to circumvent him. The hunter may become the hunted. The queen has become a pawn. The shrimp,
oh my God,
no longer a lobster.
Dear Lord. Well, he might at least be able to catch out Spallan. He's still checking the angles, and nah, you're just not catching out Spallan at the moment. He is absolutely ruining anybody that gets into his path. CT side, well, they gambled. And, well, sometimes you lose. I think that's something that everybody needs to learn when it comes to gambling. You definitely can lose. No, for sure. Phantom Lord definitely lost.
You a gambling man, Tom?
And if it comes to like CSGO cases, I gamble in that sense of like in-game stuff. When it comes to like actually betting real amounts of money, no.
I'm a blackjack man myself, and I'm fond of a little roulette. But
I like the idea of
I get it.
I don't know. I'd rather just... I don't really find the risk fun.
Enjoyment. Well,
yeah.
Funny enough, the best casino experiences I've ever had are when I'm hanging out with Risk.
Right, so you're risking with risk. Risky
course,
business.
Commentator from
Actually,
Denmark
I'd have to be there for risky business.
Oh, that's an excellent duo name. Why haven't I heard that before?
Dunno.
Tom, you bewilder me every time we hang out together, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Here's your reward. Not shot through the wall. Duty just took one to the chest. And now he's going to go for the peek down mid, but Crucial, tucked behind logs, looks to bite back. Hasn't barked, though. That op remains silent. Ooh, but now that he spams a couple of shots, you can see the hesitation in the rotates here.
Banana control has been gathered once again. Man 2 looking tempted to get a little bit aggressive with his peak, but the smoke's going to go down once again, trying to hold their grenades. It seems like Stefan nearly always has a full belt of grenades. Like, I've seen it so many times. It is because he's playing around the apartments, and there's not really been a lot of challenge there until opening picks have already come in. Once again, we're going to have 3 players ready and waiting, but the utility usage from this T side has been so good at sectioning off angles. Crucial's going to manage to get that opening pick on towards the B site. And they've got to be a little bit careful of the boost, and Cressy tries to go through. He gets 2, in fact, but they do predict the boost being in play. The smoke curve is starting to fade, but Surreal, the spray back through. They really are just reading alternate attacks to the T. And Stefan, well, he'll get to keep his utility belt this time as he's going to go hide.
It's not the first time we've seen Surreal in a moment like that, like one of these kinds of last moment nail in the top coffin type kills. I remember he was lurking over towards the A site at times, and it's like he's just been such a constant threat looming. And this time he gets a headshot through the wall, you know, sprinkles that style on top of it. Very crucial, of course, that somebody covered the player on boost once Cressy because Cressy makes his play through smoke, gets 2 kills, and that boost player had already allowed the T's to cross. They hadn't seen him at that point. There was a chance for them to look, but he had allowed them to cross. And it was, you know, that's why he still gets 1. That's why he's given a chance to deal damage, but it wasn't a crisp headshot from him. Gives up the B site. No further foul. Poor guy got wrecked right off of it. Rotators couldn't do anything with that wall of smoke, so the rebuy in from Attax. And, yo, they're knifing each other, Bismarck.
Yeah, it definitely helps. If it wasn't bad enough, the T's have hit double digits. They're going to help them out a little bit. And normally I wouldn't say there'd be much of a factor, but with spam through walls and headshots coming in as well, really could play a factor. This time they're going to go barreling in. They've changed the pace of the game as they want to try and challenge towards this A site. Molotovs to clear some of the angles, and Cressy wants to get a little bit more aggressive. The passive hold hasn't been working too well from them. The T's, oh, he goes through the smoke. I don't know how Kreese just turns around at the right moment, but he does.
Heard the drop. I believe he came off of the balcony or off of the... yeah, off the wood wagon. Little audio cue, Tom. It cost him. We saw him go with a big smoke push last round, though. Those 2 players on the B side. I mean, he's the only reason it even looked like they were going to hold. So I don't blame him for trying it again. But again and again, this B site challenged. Dude goes for the boost. There it is from Mantu. He gets himself just 1, and they've held off that A player. But crucial, staying true to his name, swings it back with an op shot. Dude's caught by Kreese, and Stefan's now alone. If only he had that second player to try to work this 2v3, but there's no synchronization between these CTs. There was that boost up, but the boost, solo peek. Then we have Dude, rotates towards Coffin, solo peek. And unfortunately, by process of elimination, Stefan has no one else to peek with. So as he comes into the site on his own, it's no surprise he's traded instantly. It's Epsilon 11-2.
This is impressive. Like, really, their T side has been dynamic. Their utility usage has been on point. And it just seems like alternate attacks can't compete. Like, even when they get, like, a one-up in a round or, like, they find a double kill that maybe shouldn't have been, every single time there's someone to turn it back. And that's another thing to give props over to Epsilon for. There hasn't been a weak player throughout this match. Crucial's at the bottom, currently 6-5. It is a pretty ridiculous match so far. Well, the CT side need to start something here.
Smoked off and not willing to spam it. Slack's going to give up the space. Counter Molly kind of pushes them back somewhat. Curious to see if he regains vision by this smoke before they decide to go. Flash pass prevents anything, but off of Stefan's kill, he'll activate, and Slack's completely denied. I mean, he's got a chance to line up 4 bodies, but it's Stefan who goes to work. 2 kills over the fork. And only Spellin now off apps. Last man into the exchange. This is looking like Attax adding a 3rd round to the board. He's got the info on 2 players because of sound alone, but now they know. And so there he goes. Dude drops him. It's little, but it's a little bit more than what they did have. 2 rounds, well, 1 less than 3.
Thanks.
You like that? Good analysis, huh?
I am glad you're here for the tactical mathematics that no one at home will be able to work out. It is a tough job. But yeah, 11-3. It is weird that that's one of the worst buys they've actually had in the last like 8 rounds, and they didn't use a lot of utility. But hey, sometimes those are the ones that work out for you. Epsilon, this time their A take fails, but even still, 11 rounds currently over on their T side. They're going to be happy with this half, but I'm gonna want to try and get that 12th. I feel like that is pretty much the nail. Like if you get a 12-3 and you don't win, then you've made some big mistakes, or you're playing an odd version of Nuke. There we go. Once again, the challenge for that banana spot will ensue. 3 players there initially, which is actually quite interesting because it's 3 players there, but no real aggression, no real information, nothing really going on. They're just waiting, maybe in case there is a rush towards this B side. Or maybe we're going to see a late take. Still got plenty of utility they could throw out.
Almost looks like they're flirting with the possibility of a peek. But the utility from the T's has kept them back for now. There's the counter flash over the top. Lines up 3 bodies. But Cressy only takes himself 2. Dude is the last line of defense. No further peek here from Epsilon. They're just going to hold off after that first exchange. 2 frags each way.
And they're actually going to double back. Incendiary going to be thrown out. Look at the wraparound as well coming in from Surreal. He may be able to do this on his own if he hits the timing correctly, but Stefan is going to be able to switch up his position into the pit. And that could be the defining choice. He's going for a little bit of a jump. He's got to be careful. He'll spot out Surreal, though. The timing's good, but the spray not quite. He's going to have to reload. Going to try and use the HE, just trying to buy time, and is being spammed out. And eventually, Brocky's going to hit 2 through the wall. And that'll be enough to get them right back into this 2v2. The peak coming out, but Brocky not going to be able to connect. We'll spot the second player, and this one he won't miss. Around the corner, Slack's going to be coming in. Will he expect the elevated angle? Brocky seems to be on something at the moment. Just splitting back and forward. His sensitivity off the chains. So honed in, he's not going to spot out Slacks. The 1v2 comes through for Attax as they get a 4th.
There you have it. Closing out the half at least with 2 rounds, Tom. They doubled up between the 14th and the 15th. And that right there could give them a slightly bigger chance at making this incredible comeback happen. But, I mean, Epsilon just tore through them so often. And again, you know, it's not shocking to see one team give up those last 2 rounds. But no. I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to throw this to some music because I think the half isn't ready yet. We'll be back, folks. Don't go anywhere. So the game is ready, and there might not have been music. Because I don't think our producer's here. But we're back into the game, so it is round 16. Pistol number 2. It's MDL with Tom and Scrawny.
Oh, maybe you could have just sung a song. I know you can beatbox.
Don't you try now, Tom.
Oh. Epsilon looking to pretty much cement their victory here if they can take the pistol. Be an even tougher mountain to climb for alternate attacks. They are going to be climbing up that banana. Freeze will be spotting things out. A little bit of damage, but not anything to really write home about. And it's Surreal at the back of this site. Looking to try and hold it down. Counter smoke actually thrown out. Nice shot from Surreal. At least the net the first. He'll spot the second fading into the smoke. And they are just shutting this down. There should be a trade back onto Spallan as pretty much everybody's reloading at once. But that's the only real saving grace as they have just been able to shut out this round. A great hold from those 2 players on B. 14 damage is all that Kreese took. And he was peaking aggressively at the beginning.
Spells disaster. It's too long of a word for me to spell myself, Tom, but I've got a hunch that that's what it looks like. Epsilon ready and willing to close this game quick, getting us back on schedule, in fact. 4 SMGs and a single AUG, so Surreal has lesser utility than the rest of his comrades, but look at this. Attacks. 5 players through alt, sneaking through the tunnels. Just dodging those grenades. Now what? They don't even have a single flashbang, so this is as vanilla as it gets.
Well, going to pressure Crucial. And, well, he did as much as he could with his ammo. Made a nice amount of money as well. And, oh, actually, Man2 gets one. I was quite surprised. How's he got a second?
He's going for the plant. He's going to get this.
Okay, this is more than a successful round. Considering how much Crucial managed to do at the beginning, for them to then, well, him to get, what, 2 kills, make $1,200, and get a bomb plant to make an extra few thousand for the rest of the team. That is ridiculous.
Redonkulous, even. But, I mean, the one saving grace, MP9s and UMPs, it's really that Kevlar, the kits, and any grenades they still held onto that costs the most. At least the rifle moves through. But speaking of rifles, they've made an appearance here on the T side. They've got an op and 4 AKs, and that's going to give the edge to Attax here in this round. So let's cross our fingers that they can break into this T side early, give us a game to talk about. If not, Epsilon, they're sinking their teeth into the jugular right now.
Well, once again, it's going to be that banana control. It's not really been challenged too much by the CT side. They've somewhat given it up. Already pushing straight in. It's going to be an attempt, but Kreese already manages to shot one of these plays down. And Spallan running through. Lots of damage done somehow. He's just standing in the flames. He doesn't even care. Eventually, it is going to be a smoke coming in from a teammate to help him out, but this is looking as dead and buried as the other we've seen. Surreal going to make things even worse, and now Cressy, the only one left.
Surreal has had these kinds of robbery kills way too often so far this game. I mean, he knows the angle. That one's obvious, but the poor Attax player pinned into the corner. Doesn't even get a chance to cross. Doesn't even get a chance to peek and spam some shots back. Nope. Just robbed of any second breath of life here. Surreal hoping that once the smoke fades, Cressy peaks, which is the case. In fact, he's just going to go for another smoke kill. Why not? Finishes off 3 wounded enemies this round, Surreal does, and takes Epsilon to 14-4.
Yeah, the pause taken at this point. It's kind of difficult to really talk through what you're going to do. It's either force by now, risk it all, and maybe give yourselves the extra lifeline, or just save, and then you're basically playing it from the very end, just hoping that you can maybe carry things through. Either way, it's horrible. There's no good scenario here.
Other than an early finish?
Okay, no good scenario for the players.
More time to review.
That
Tom,
is true.
We gotta
but
find
I
those
think you'd
silver
rather
linings.
not get absolutely slapped.
Yeah, I think they'd have a better day for it. But let's see if they try to trudge headstrong through more Molotovs and frags than they would hope for. Oh, the bullets. Spelling 2 kills with the AK. I mean, that's just a massacre. And it's not far off what we saw last round when they tried to just really hit this B site with utter conviction. And I mean, if they're convinced of their ability to do it, that's great. But they got to follow through, Tom. And so far, not so good until Cressy kills 2. Double kill off the side of Banana. That's going to open up the site for the plant. And now the retake's on. This is anybody's round.
This has become a possibility. The only thing that worries me a bit is just the amount of utility that's still there for the CT side. Smoke's going to be thrown over to try and section off Banana. They've got incendiaries as well to try and clear some of the backside positions. Cressy, oh, he's pushing through the edge of the smoke. Brock is just going to wait for it, and he's more than aware it will trade it back into this 1 versus 1 fight to run through the smoke, and dude's going to hit the shot. Not going to be the end of this one just yet.
Yeah, Brokey, I see what he's trying to do there. Use the space to create, use the smoke to create space and then jump through it off the flash, maybe. His smoke hadn't popped yet, Tom. So there's that little moment where you see this flying CT just trying to work his way through the smoke screen. Good shot from dude. Gets it done. My dude. Another buyback from the CTs. Still includes rifles, so they're better off than not. However, it's a stark contrast from what we've seen at the top of Banana previously, which was just sheer presence from Epsilon. All those grenades, all that damage. It's not going to play a part here in the 5th round of the second half. Ow. Frag comes back, though. Spellin's going to take it to the knees.
Once again, this very passive hold coming out from the CT side on Banana. They haven't really been taking too many challenges. Crucial just sat on the edge of middle with a smoke. I'm just going to throw that down. Ooh. What?
What?
I don't even know what just happened. Like the first shot, I could sort of say that was a bit random, but the second one, maybe could see something around the edge of the smoke. Maybe there was a little bit of a gap for him on the left-hand side, but well, that definitely worked out for the T's.
That's a hell of a way to get a 5v4. Now, what did they make of it? Cressy making a lot of noise as he rounds that corner. Not expecting players to be so close. He does tag Brokey up really hard, but it's going to be the commitment on B.
Straight through. Kreese again. He's been so good at just holding in the back. Spallan's going to kill himself, but it may not matter. There's only 10 seconds remaining on the clock. The bomb is on the deck, and Kreese, he's doing exactly what he has to do. Survive in the back. What? Nice shot, though, and that might actually be enough to get the bomb down. They can't deny it. Somehow, this isn't too bad a situation. They just need to connect the last bullet onto Dude, and eventually they will. I don't know how these AWP shots are connecting for Slacks, but either way, it's still going to be a 15th for Epsilon.
That's a wild round. A wild way for Epsilon to get 15. Did you see that shot from Slacks at the end as well? Through new box?
That's mad.
My man. Op really trying to make the difference that round, but Slacks can't pull himself up. At least not high enough to belt a 6th round onto the board, Tom. So Epsilon will be gunning for that map point. Sorry, I choked. Match point. And they're going to have to do it with double Mac 10s. I'm not a firm believer, but they are able to already start encroaching through the apartments, getting into this A site. If it's a smooth entry, then that's all great. They should be able to do this, but they're going to have to get past Crucial, and that op is ready. Molly cuts them off.
Oh. Already a man lost, and Surreal still up above, looking to rain death down, and he has his teammates to help him out. Oh, bit of a miss, actually. Given the opportunity to pretty much close this round, but him still being up here is going to be a big problem. You can see Slacks watching Spallan. He wants to try and close this on his own. Surreal not really ready for this moment and just trying to spam a little bit through the wall, maybe be a bit of a distraction while Kreese takes the peek instead, and they will close things out. Epsilon with a firm hold on this map of Inferno. And unfortunately, well, for you guys at least, it is the end of the broadcast.
A quick close, folks, here as our 4th game. We didn't really know what to make of it. We did know Epsilon had more relevant LAN results as of late. Just, you know, you're going to tout them as the better team. I'm pretty impressed with Brokey. Very impressed with Surreal and Crucial. But those are the two guys I always look to, seeing as they have had those stints in NA. So more familiar with them, Tom. You know, they made the change back. And if Epsilon's the team that they're going to then next succeed with, then that's great for them. Because this looked buttery smooth. Mind you, Attax, that T side, it was just missing a bunch. By the time they started to work towards that A site and we had more openings for them, that slow B execute at times, you know, remember that half began with them running through mollies and frags and giving up like 4 to start. So slow start on the T side, not much of a showing, but there was opportunities in that. And also recall, it was an 11-4 half, for Christ's sake. Like they weren't going to get far.
And straight in from a match which ended like literally moments before, which was a very close game. I don't know if I think they may have won that one out, but even still a 10-minute break, it can be a tough one. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more from alternate attacks. And that's another win on the board for Epsilon, who were 1-3 up until that point. So looking to get themselves at least further towards the playoff points. There's teams like Vitality currently 8-1, Movistar is 5-0. And we've seen like Gamer Legion and Valiance both add to their flawless tallies. So it's going to be a tough one for them to bring it back, but it's definitely possible. There's so many matches within the MDL in a season, and if they can get towards playoffs, try and get towards qualifying for Pro League, that would be absolutely massive.
Upsets in the playoffs as well, Tom. That always happens once
Yeah.
or twice. So you just want to be that team, even if you're on the brim. So tip of the hat to Epsilon, and that's it for us tonight. It's the SEA Mountain Dew League Week 4, Wednesday, EU coverage. Tom and Scrawny,